Live. So let's continue with career mode. Oh, we've got 2 people in here already. Hello. I don't know how to pronounce your username. Is it Kebabik Kid in Storm Chaser Weather? Yeah, if you've got here really quickly, it's probably from the Discord because I always put an announcement out like a minute or so before I stream, and then once I'm streaming. So yeah, I've added a lot of new things to the game. I'm actually trying to remember what it is. We may need to do some back and forth between the build and the kind of like behind the scenes in the Unity editor and switching back and forth. I've made a bunch of changes untested right before the stream, so it should be an interesting playthrough. I'm sitting in a room right now that is 27.5 degrees Celsius. In US units, what's that? 81 Fahrenheit, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in the UK, that's hot by our standards. So, new things. What's new? So, first is that the map icons have changed. So, what I did was ask Codex to code me up a little helper utility. So, what I've done is for each tile that I've built in the game, it has a camera that zooms in from above, takes a photograph essentially of it, saves that as a little 256 by 256 pixel icon, and then assigns it in the editor, so that now whenever I create new tiles, I don't need to then go into Photoshop and try and figure out how to add them. It creates them automatically, and then the next step from that is I can then color code the roads. So dirt roads are grey, main roads are black, and then motorways are blue. I've also changed, one of the biggest things I've done is change the timings in career mode. So if you chose fast as your tornado speed, now you can choose like the speed that cells and tornadoes form. If you choose fast, take that as the baseline. In career mode, it was going at 20%, so it was 5 times slower, and I think that was a bit too slow. So now it's about 40%. So it's actually 45% of the speed of the so-called fast mode. So it's 2 and a bit times faster than it was before. So it means tornadoes should fully form now, rather than just chasing like a tiny little rope for half of the game. What else? What else? I'm sure I'll remember as we go through the game. Now when you reset, so you might have seen on one of my live streams, I managed to ground the truck on the edge of the motorway. Anytime I hit reset, I just keep dropping in the exact same spot and we'd get stuck. So now it should offset us. You see how it's offsetting us by a random amount. It's kind of hard to show. If I can't keep the camera, you see we're kind of jumping around a bit, just so if you are grounded on something, it will, I need to check that it still preserves your motion, yeah. It'll move you off that eventually. So I'll show off the new map. So you can see this actually matches exactly the road. Next thing I need to do is change it from a circle to a triangle and point in the direction your vehicle's pointing, just to make navigation a little bit easier. I was going to try and do it before the stream, but I said I'd be live in 10 minutes and then I worked for about 15. I didn't want to delay it anymore. Biggest change, now it's probably that, and I haven't tested this yet, and the probe's configurable, so you can change what it's recording like usual, but then what you can try and do is balance the weight, the drag, and the lift coefficients to try and get something that the funnel carries. So if you get a really good intercept and get those numbers perfect, it'll stay in the funnel for much longer than just the size of the tornado. So I'll just make an initial guess with these values. It's like real life science, you've actually got to experiment. And of course you can't just memorize the values, because what works for one tornado might not work for a narrower tornado. So you think a nice big wide tornado, it's not changing direction as often, but a very narrow tornado with strong winds is going to be higher as its centripetal force. And then a tornado with weaker winds is going to be different coefficients. So there's going to be a lot of experimentation, but of course, if you don't want that experimentation and you just want to do it the good old-fashioned way of deploying on the ground, just set those coefficients to 0, and then the weight and everything else doesn't really matter. What else? So if we go on the data page now, it shows you how you've configured it. What else? I did do a little test run earlier today. I did buy a few more upgrades. Oh yeah, power lines, that's the other thing. Power lines now have sparks that fly out of them. I think I've said to a 50-50 chance whether the sparks come out. Let's see if I can demonstrate it. There you go. So sparks can go flying now. That costs $6 to demonstrate that. What else have I changed? Yeah, tornadoes can be a bit wider now. I think the narrowest a tornado could be was a bit too narrow. It was giving us streams where it was just like a tiny rope which would barely condense that you couldn't really intercept. So I've made those wider and I've made them form a bit quicker than before. So there should be a lot more engaging streams from now on, and the career mode should be that little bit more interesting. I'm sure there'll be other things. There's rain effects on the windscreen. I think I showed those off last stream though. I've also added, let's see if I can find them. Oh yeah, new settings as well. So I've got some new settings. So object density. So you can change this. So if your system's struggling with having lots of objects spawned, you can even set as low as none, but there'll be nothing for the tornado to destroy. And also a debris limit. Let me set this to 750, I think. One thing somebody suggested, swapping this with that, and I think that's a good idea. I forgot to do it before the stream. Just because instinctively you change your settings and you want to click this, but that returns you to the main menu, which is very frustrating, especially if you have a good chase day like today. Got some decent cape, decent helicity. Let me now stop paying attention to what's actually happening in the game. I've got reflectivity. Let's get velocity up. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be to our south, so I reckon we just stop here and watch what it's doing. Yeah, but what else is new? I think I've covered the major changes in the game. Oh yeah, one last thing. Before, when I used to zoom in and out, the scroll wheel you could use to zoom in and out, but that would also zoom the map. So if I wanted to zoom in on the map, it would also zoom in. Now you can see it's a shift and scroll wheel for the map. Oh, that still zooms the truck though. Okay, not quite fixed. So, yeah. I'm not going to stop this chase to fix that because that's a pretty minor thing. Wait, not west, I want to be facing east. It's a pretty minor thing, but I'll do that before. I want to try and push the update tonight, providing all this testing goes well. There's also new, I bought, so this was an excellent discount. There was a bunch of industrial assets, which would usually cost €300, around $300. Discounted down to $3. It was 99% off, so I got that. I've only added one thing in, which are the like these flammable like fuel storage tanks. I haven't added explosion effects to them yet, but I do want to add that. But I'm sure we'll drive past them at some point. Right, so the storm's forming here. What features have been added? Oh, you've just you've joined just as I've said. Let's recap. Probe's configurable. You can change the weight, drag and lift to try and get it to be carried by the tornado. Resetting your vehicle offsets it slightly so it doesn't get stuck on something. There's new settings for object density and debris. There's fuel tanks which have been added. Tornadoes that form now, the smallest possible tornado size is now a bit bigger, and in career mode tornadoes spawn and intensify a little over twice as quick as they did before, so it's a bit more engaging now. I'd say a lot more engaging. It makes quite a big difference, that double speed. Yeah, power lines shoot out sparks now. There's a 50-50 chance whether they'll shoot out sparks when either you drive into them or they get lifted by the tornado. And yeah, there's fuel tanks, and you try and find those. And the map icons have changed as well. They actually match exactly what's in the game. Random guy 4297. Wow, Real Smith's impressed. I'm glad you're impressed. And Random guy 4297. Remember the this game a while ago. Hope it's all going well. Yeah. So if you're saying a while ago, that was probably the 2023 version. Yeah, this is a completely new rebuild, completely from scratch, blank project. I've reused a few assets. So wind turbine I've reused. Water tower I've reused, and some of these barn assets, but in terms of the actual gameplay mechanics, completely new, completely different rendering pipeline. I've just realised I think there's rain actually getting projected onto the headlights as well. Yeah, but I've essentially created something completely different, so you have a randomised map every chase. Tornado visuals work completely differently, and we've got wall clouds now. The whole gameplay loop's a bit different as well. You still collecting data and rescuing people and raising warnings, but how you get paid and rewarded for that is now different as well. Yeah, we'll get to the storm visuals. Like, say my priorities are always number 1, fun, things which add fun to the game. 2 is visuals, which is where storms come in. And then 3rd is realism, which I guess also kind of covers storms because I need more realistic storm structure. So I will get there. I'm focusing on gameplay elements right now. So that's where this comes in. Right, I've got our wall cloud. We can see where it's going to put something down. Oh, we're actually quite far behind it. Right, let's head east. That'll take the road to the north. Let's keep the velocity on because it intensifies quite a bit before it drops something. Also, I did experiment with the tornado placement. So it does render slightly below the map. It was 40 meters below the map. I set that to 20 meters and it was too high. There was a visible gap under the funnel. Set that to 30 meters and there was still a very slight gap. Set it back to 40 meters and turns out I was right the first time. So yeah, it's as high as it can go while still rendering correctly. Oh, look, we'll get the couplets intensifying. It's probably going to put something down soon. Let's position ourselves well. One thing I do want to add, I was just watching a YouTube video about how games create the perception of speed. And one thing I really need to do is add some sort of motion blur and maybe very slight camera shake once you get up above like 85, 90 miles an hour. Just so you feel like you're getting somewhere faster, even if it does take the same amount of time. Okay, funnel's starting to form. I can't see anything yet though. Which direction's it moving? Oh, northeast, okay. Right, first we need to look at towns. Right. It's getting quite close to these towns. Right, let's think. I want to try and intercept, but I also want to warn these towns. Look, we've got 4 next to each other, so if this wedges out quickly, that's not good. So, what I'll do, I'll place my best guess for deployment now. Quick deploy. Right, now we're going to have to warn 5 towns that have all spawned next to each other. So let's do the best we can. The tornado is still quite weak, but can still cause injuries. How close am I actually to my next level? 72% of the way there. Our rescue score is 258. We need to get up to 300 to, I guess, become a postdoc, and I've just missed my turn there. Do a J turn. Right, we're starting to see some dust kick up. And hopefully, within a few minutes, we'll see a visible funnel, and we won't have one of those chases where it stays really narrow and nothing really happens for the majority of the chase. I don't want that to happen. We've got our windshield rain effects there. I still think that I can improve those. Just I was having some issues with the asset. Right, let's raise the alarm. Right, let's head north. VFX looks good. Oh, thank you. I put a lot of time into getting the tornado visuals right because it's easy. Well, I'd say easy. It still takes a lot of effort to handcraft something which looks good. And somebody recently, it was actually the guy who did the capsule art for the game, showed me something he's been working on in Roblox. I actually legitimately thought, I wasn't sure if he'd taken a video or if you've ever seen these drawings, he literally hand paints in Photoshop photorealistic tornadoes. It's amazing. Like, he's done it live for me on screen, where I've watched him do it. Like, he doesn't use AI. He's literally live on screen. It's amazing. I thought he'd either animated every frame to make it look photorealistic and actually animated a video, or sent an actual video of a tornado. It turns out it's a mod he's working on in Roblox, and just looks amazing. So you can handcraft and customize tornadoes to make them look good. But I also want each tornado to be randomized and unique. And trying to mix randomization in with an actual fluid simulation and keeping it looking good is really difficult. So what I had to do was essentially create a button which randomized all the parameters of the tornado. So like the swirl speed, swirl strength, weight, density, all that stuff. Right, we need to get out ahead of it now. Wrong way. Let's head north. And I just had to keep clicking randomize, and every time I got which looked good, I'd have a save button. Exported all that data to a file, which I then had to create a statistical model with, and that gave me essentially coefficients that I could use and randomize so that the tornadoes could be both random, but all the values would stay within a range which kept them looking good. Still occasionally now and then get a tornado which still looks a little bit weird, but I feel like the vast majority of them look realistic and look decent, with some rare ones looking exceptionally amazing in terms of like the motion and the funnel and how realistic they look. So yeah, thanks. I've put a lot of time into the tornado visual, so I do appreciate the feedback. The field of view based on speed. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Yeah, there's a guy actually from the northeast as well. He does car accident breakdowns. Like, he'll take dashcam footage and explain, like, blame from a liability point of view. It's called Big Jobber on either TikTok and YouTube, Facebook. But one of the things he always says is people always put comments like, "Oh, you were driving too fast. You're going way too fast there." And what he shows, like, because dash cams have a wide field of view, it creates a perception that you're going faster. And actually, if you crop out the sides or reduce the field of view, it creates a sensation of going slower. I may have got that the wrong way around. Wider makes you feel faster because your peripheral vision's moving quicker. So I think you go wider field of view. Yeah, because we can actually demonstrate this right now. So this is going at pretty constant speed. I'll change my field of view to something really narrow, like 60. So we're going the same speed as before. I'll still keep heading east. Then I'll keep going the same speed and set it to something wide, like 110. See how the perception, it feels like you're going faster, just from changing the field of view. So yeah, what I need to do is dynamically kind of scale it to whatever you've chosen as your default setting. Add or subtract from that to create that effect. Yeah, a lot of fine tuning. Keeping them volumetric. The asset I'm using for this was actually for rendering smoke. What I've had to do is heavily modify the code to render tornadoes and dust. Like, I had to customize the shaders and customize how the liquid and things move, or not liquid but fluid moves. Right, we're in a perfect position here. I almost quoted Twister there. Perfect position, let's proceed. I was going to say let's deploy. Also, I heard some crazy stuff happened at the Twister 30th anniversary celebration in Wakita. So somebody put on a post saying something to the effect of, if you were at, I can't remember the exact intersection, at like 2 or 3 p.m. and you were either filming or had a drone, you may have captured an incident. So I was like, what's the incident? So I looked at the comments. Apparently 2 storm chasers got in an argument and one of them pulled out a sword on the other storm chaser. I was like, that's like maximum nerd rage there. Like, to pull out a sword on somebody over an argument presumably to do with tornadoes, I think it's just ridiculous. Probe camera, let's see, does this get lifted? F1, are we getting lifted? Why even is the tornado? Oh yeah, it looks like it's lifting and weakening a bit. Still hasn't fully condensed, but still a much more noticeable funnel than the tiny skinny needles and ropes we've been having. Let's see, is it going to get lifted 40 miles an hour? Okay. Right, I'm not going to adjust the probe because I think the tornado's still in the early stages of developing. Let's do a quick recall. We'll reposition and redeploy. Oh, look, we're getting F4 strength. Right, let's keep heading east. We're heading north, not east. Got power flash in there. Oh yeah, power flashes are new since the 2023 version. Right. Perfect. Deploy and get out of there. Quick. Motion looks really cool. Yeah, oh, have you seen the VHS camera? I think I'm using a different VHS asset. Oh no, I am using the same VHS asset, but it different effects now to create that nostalgic feel. Oh, I think I just saw, look, our probe's flying. Okay, it's kind of getting carried. If that can get carried by the funnel, we can collect a ton of data. F2, straight back down to F1. Okay, I think we'll increase the lift coefficient, hopefully get it a bit higher. I'm just going to close the camera. The camera will lag your game a bit since it has to render everything twice. Putting in quick recall and quick deploy too much. Maybe I'll think about that. The reason I added them... Oh, we can test the power line sparks maybe. Ah no, it's a bit too far south. Let's try and get ahead of it. Oh, we need to warn this town actually. Oh, look, it's going F5. We're getting some sub-vortices in there. Almost. It's starting to go F5. It's turning south. Right. I think we'll get along here. I have to think about the reason I added it is because one thing I always used to hate live streaming is I'd have a really cool looking tornado. I'd be perfectly placed, get maybe a pretty decent intercept. I'd then have to drive to safety, wait for the tornado to pass, then drive back to where the probe was, put it back in the flatbed, then go try and catch up with the tornado, get ahead of the tornado again, and then redeploy, and I just felt like I'd lose all my momentum. So I thought, let's just add a button to just get your probe back. It also means with quick deploy, it means you can deploy in situations you usually wouldn't be able to, which I think is an added plus. This thing is moving. Oh, it's heading towards another town. So I think... So the drag coefficient changes how much it moves side to side, like how much the wind pushes it, and the lift coefficient determines how much it moves vertically. So I think what we'll do... Right. I think it does need a little bit more drag. Let's bump that up twice. Let's get it higher in the air. The more it goes in the air, the longer it'll stay in the air for. Which means more data. So I think is it gonna jump south on us? I think it is, right. We're gonna do it this way. Quick recall. Look, it's like turning. And we need to get to that town as well and warn them. Like, it's still turning. Right, let's use a visual reference. Let's use that barn as a visual reference. Yeah, I still think we need to be a little bit... Oh, it's very close now. Quick deploy, and we need to warn that town. Yeah, you can hear stuff in the distance getting smashed to pieces. Let's warn that town because it does take some time for everybody to take shelter. We can also take photos as well. Extra point if you deploy the probe manually. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. I think rewarding a manual deployment. I guess how do you detect that? I guess each time you touch the probe, you set a flag. So if you can click and drag the probe, you set a flag, and that flag, internal flag. By flag, I just mean a bit in memory. So remember, if the last interaction was you moving it, or if you each time you click quick deploy or quick recall, it resets that flag. So if that flag's set when the tornado is there, yeah, maybe add a multiplier like twice as much. Speaking of multipliers, I do need to add I want to color code this so for each non-zero sample you see a multiplier increase at the end of each row and at the bottom of each column. Because I guess a lot of people don't know about the multipliers. It's just kind of built in there and isn't really explained. If we head, right, quick recall, we need to head south. How can we get south? Right, we need to race it over that hill. Just gonna eyeball it. Yeah, this is gonna be close. I think we deploy right about... Ooh, looks like it's turning south a bit. Right. This is gonna be close. Where did it go? Ah, it dropped through the map. Not good. Right, are there any other towns in the path? Let's just get my situational awareness. Oh. Oh, we might actually get to see the power lines spark. So let's wait at this intersection here as the tornado moves over the hill. Oh, is it moving further south again? Let's have a look. Probe camera. It's pointed at the tornado. I don't know if actually better place now, you know. I think we're better placed here. Quick recall, quick deploy. And we want to head this way. Let's see if we can see a power line spark. Oh, and then we've got this nice little motorway here to get us south quickly. But I want to be close enough to these to see them emit the sparks. I wonder if I can quickly change the field of view. Zoom in a bit more. Let's just move away from that to get that text. Oh, there, it's lifted. It's lifted our probe. It's lifted. So I have the same problem as having Twister. Like, is the pack too light? Is it too heavy? Oh, there we go. Saw the sparks. Let me just stay here. We've got our 70-mile-an-hour winds. Looks like it's too light because look, it looks like it's got flung out of the funnel. Whoa, what was that? Oh, power flash right next to us. Yeah. Oh, that's one thing. I have added an option where objects can get deleted, like removed when the wind hits them. I need to add that to the power lines so we don't have these floating power lines. Right, let's do quick recall. I think we need a heavier probe. A couple of assets I want to buy this month, and once the money for the game comes through, because I do like to reinvest the money in the game. Actually, it looks like we need to head more east. One of them is a much better roads asset than Easy Roads. Easy Roads is actually quite terrible. It is the #1 road building asset on the Unity Asset Store. It is terrible. It's buggy. The results aren't great. So a new one of those. And there was one more. What was it again? Possibly a new vegetation rendering system, just so we don't have this issue where the vegetation just randomly disappears. Oh, it looks like it's heading back this way again. Right, we need to quickly. Oh, I need to set my field of view actually back. I think 90, I think is the best. Right. Oops. Right. Lift along, down. Right, configure. Oh, let's get some different data as well. Let's set it to 600 kilograms. We'll keep those other coefficients the same. And then we may be able to go for a second intercept along here. Yeah, let's do it. Quick recall. Oh, just thought we haven't had a hunt yet. We're quite overdue for a hunt, so need to be mindful of that. Let's plan our escape route if it hunts. I don't want to take it this way. I think we'll go along here and up there. Take it away from the towns. Looks like it's weakened slightly, so it's lifted a bit, not quite touching the ground. See from the probe's point of view. Is it going to get lifted? Oh, it's moving. It's moving. Can it stay in the funnel is the question. Look, and F3 data. F3 data. Nah, I got flung again. Right, we're going to go north and try another intercept, so quick recall. I think we'll dial down the drag coefficient. I think the lift is fine. Maybe bump up the lift a bit and dial down the drag. Sorry, I can see the chat scrolling by there. I'm getting distracted by the tornado. Oh, there's... If I can zoom in a bit, those are the fuel tanks. Those can get thrown as well. Has to be a pretty strong tornado to do it, I think. I can't remember what I set the wind speed to for those. Right. Look, see how it's narrowing. Right, I don't think we're gonna have time to. What's up? Right, I think we might just about have time. Let's zoom in. Right, lift, lift, lift. Right, we're gonna. This weight is fine. Let's bump the drag coefficient down. The lift coefficient's fine. Yeah, I think just the drag coefficient down. Oh, I'm about to drive through it. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is. I don't know whether I should reverse or drive forwards. Luckily, it's not heading towards any towns, so I don't have to worry about that. That was close. Whoa! There goes the trailer. Just exploded. Right. Let's recall the probe. Right, we need to get on this bit of network. We're gonna have to off-road. Wow, that's got like strong suction. It's like pulling everything vertically. Right, sorry, I'll catch up on chat. Let's follow us to the edge of the map. I'll try my best to catch up on map. Is he planning to get this out tonight? This update, yes, preferably tonight, as long as I don't notice any massive game-breaking bugs. Yeah, I want to push this update tonight. By tonight, I'm talking my local time, so in the next hour or so. Load the list a bit. My controls seem stuck. By controls, are you talking like using an actual like physical controller, like steering wheel or Xbox controller? Oh, I'm kind of driving into it because the game doesn't support those yet. I think the vehicle controller may recognize it, and you might be able to drive forwards and backwards, but I don't think it'll control the camera very well. Oh, so I can't take credit for the Winfield. So I had a member of the Discord. They've dedicated a lot of time to studying tornado wind fields and just about anything you could possibly want to know about tornadoes. They sent me some of their code that they use, which is very accurate. But they code in Lua and I code in C#. So I took that, translated into C#. Have that in the game. So that is the Go By Rainbow does stuff on Discord and I think on social media, so got them to thank for the realistic wind fields. No key, the vehicle is stuck turning right. Have you got any other controllers plugged in? This I will try and fix this on my side. I won't be able to do it on the update tonight, but I found that sometimes happens if you have like a joystick or the controller plugged in. No, the controller, that's weird. So it's stuck on because it's literally just the WASD keys. Any other USB devices? I had a USB cup warmer, which I was testing at work the other day. It wasn't very strong. I ended up giving it back. But so there could be some USB peripheral which isn't a controller, which the game is detecting. I'll have to go through the code and make sure nothing is actually doing that. Because yeah, I don't officially support controllers yet. I am wanting to add that in the next few weeks, hopefully. Look at that. So I'll try and fix that on my side. I probably won't have time. Maybe quickly tonight before the release, I can see if there's anything obvious which can be changed. But yeah, that shouldn't happen. I've seen that happen myself, but only when I've had some USB thing plugged in. Right, quick deploy. Let's get back on the road. Antonio sounds from Twisted. No, because those sounds are essentially copyrighted. If they've created sound effects for the film, I can't just rip those out of the film and put them in the game. I have tried my best to create a growl, so when the hunts start, speaking of which, we haven't had one yet. When the hunts start, there's like kind of like a growl which you kind of hear in Twister. It's similar, But what I did was use a royalty-free asset of like a lion's roar, and then kind of pitch shifted it down and slowed it down a bit. How are we doing on data? Oh, we've got some good pressure and temperature data. Let's get some wind data next if we can. So I'm doing a quick recall. So what I need to do, I think we'll take the next intersection just to give a bit more buffer room. Right, I'm going to stop at this next intersection, change to wind mode. So we're going to pressure, let's record wind. Oops. I forgot, I've got to press E to exit that. And now we need to race it to the intercept point. Look, this looks like borderline F5 here. If it looks like we're not going to make it, I'll try and off-road and do another intercept there. Oh yeah, I did that for the mod in Storm Chasers because that's a mod for the game. It's not something which I'm... Because once you start selling something commercially, the standard for making sure you don't infringe on copyright is a lot higher if you profit off it. I wasn't making any money off that mod, and that was a series of things people would have to add themselves. It didn't come pre-packaged with the game, which is kind of like just every time somebody asks about like the Tiv or the Dominator, I was saying I can't add those because those are like, I think they have to be licensed. But if I add mod support and somebody chooses to add those, it's their responsibility to ensure they're not infringing trademark or copyright or any other sort of intellectual property things. And then, of course, if they ever do say this person's added this mod, please can you remove it? Obviously, I have to comply with that. Yeah, it's a bit different when you're adding mods to somebody else's game to putting it in a game which you're profiting from yourself. How did we do on data there? Nice, we've got some F4 samples there. This is going to go off the map, so let's head back. Oh, a nice side effect of me increasing the speed tornadoes intensify. It also increases the rate that the rope out, so we don't have to wait for ages for the next tornado to occur. I wonder if I keep my speed up and just keep hitting R, how long I can keep my speed up for. Okay, no, that was stupid. Right, that wasn't worth it. Those samples would have been worth quite a bit of money. Alright, so the next tornado will spawn in our vicinity. Look at that trail. This is going about 2.5 times faster. So if you think, by the time it got to F4 strength, kind of make it twice as long. So it wouldn't have been getting to F4 strength till about here. You can see how that changes how fun the game would have been, because we would have been chasing essentially like an F1, F2 funnel most of the time. Right, tornado's gone. We need to... Right, I want to get away from the edge of the map. So let's head south. Which direction am I going? West. So follow this road around till we get here. Then we'll just head west. Also, I don't know if there's any Tom Scott fans on here. It's YouTuber, he just does interesting videos about interesting things. That's about as well as I can categorize them. He's currently doing a video series where he's going through each county in the UK, from the south up to the north. Just exploring interesting people, interesting places as he works his way up the country. And he's just done one about the Tyne Tunnel, which is a local tunnel where I live. It takes you under the river, the main river that runs through here. It's really interesting. It's about the fire suppression system in the tunnel and how that works, and it takes you like through there's like escape corridors, and there's a bunch of like piping and all sorts. So that was pretty cool. So if you're not subscribed to Tom Scott, I'd definitely recommend checking his channel out. He's done a couple of videos in my local area actually. He also did one about this old like manor, like old house, I think from the 1800s, called Cragside. He did one there as well. I've been there too. I just drove through the Tyne Tunnel a few weeks ago. Last time I went to Cragside was quite a few years ago. But it was like one of the first places in Britain to have like hydroelectric power. Alright, so let's get as close to the center of the map. Oops, I was reading the chat there and accidentally took out a power line. Can you add ambient clouds? So there's supposed to be, there are actually supposed to be clouds. What I did was I got the coloring and contrast wrong. So it kind of looks like sky, but these are meant to be dark storm clouds, so I do need to fix that because it kind of looks like almost like a blue sky is flashing with lightning. You can see where it's getting lit up. I need to fix the lighting on there. So yeah, there are actually supposed to be ambient clouds. I've just broke the lighting and colouring on them. Right, let's get to the middle. Let's get to the middle of the map. Is it still there? Yeah, it's still there. All clouds still there. Yeah, let's head south and continue west. Yeah, we've also got those car parks or parking lots. I think that's more of a British thing that I've added there, where you just have random parking spaces along the side of like a remote country road. I don't think they just have random parking lots like that in the US. In the UK, we tend to have some parking and also passing places where it would just kind of be like the road would kind of just jut out a bit, like that would be slightly wider and let people pass on like the single track roads. Yeah, let's keep heading south and we'll head west again. Clouds, which looks similar to the storms. I'm not sure because that requires a lot of rendering power with them being fully volumetric. Like these are volumetric clouds as well, but they're highly optimized. These ones are slightly different. I can probably try and match the coloring and shading to make them look similar, but I'll have to use a different system because that's a full like fluid simulation going on in there, whereas these are just rendered, and there's no physics simulation going on there with them. And there we go, there's our next cell, so let's get the reflectivity radar on. And let's just stop and see what it does. See where the core of the storm develops. I'd say the core is back here. Which means, let's put velocity on. Which means the tornado's going to spawn in this vicinity, I'd say. So assuming it's going to head northeast, let's keep heading west. Let's try and aim to be around here. Then it gives us options in each north, south, east, west. Any direction we need. How are we doing on data? Okay, I think we need a few more pressure samples. We need to actually while it's quiet, let's stop the truck. Let's go. What's the one we didn't get? Was it dew point? Yeah, that maxes out our multipliers almost. Let's keep heading west. Yeah, we're not going to take this right. We'll take the next right. Then we'll take the third right. That almost sounded like Third Reich. I apologise for that. We'll take right number 3. So turn left. No, sorry, turn right. Here. Where am I going? No, sorry, I'm getting all disoriented. There we go. The bluish hue. Yeah, I can do that in post-processing actually. Personally, I prefer more of the green and warmer color filters. I don't know if that's me being red-green colorblind. But when I've experimented, when I go like the colder, bluer side of the spectrum, it's just a personal taste thing, doesn't look as vivid as the warmer, greener side of the spectrum. Add hook echoes. So I do actually have a thought in mind of how I could do that, but it would potentially require me to add... I'd have to add physics to the cell which spins. Oh, actually I was wrong. Look, it's putting the tornado down over here. At least we're closed down a lot of that distance. And maybe we'll add like something which pulls the density. So if zoom out, right, let's go left. 1 sec. Let me just come up with a plan here. Which pulls the density towards a specific point and twists it at the same time, and it should naturally start to form a hook shape. I'm not very good at driving with the map up. Velocity. Let's try and predict. So it'll probably touch on there. If we're stationary, and I'll put it in the middle, my mouse in the middle of the couplet. Let's see which direction it's moving. Oh wait, the couplet's here. I'd say it's barely moving. I still think it's slightly northeast. So if that's the case, let's take this left here, and we'll go up this way. I can't see any signs of a tornado just yet. Let's put velocity back on. I need to try and focus on staying on the road. One thought I've had for a while, and I've kept forgetting about it, is putting the post-processing settings in the actual settings somewhere, maybe having a separate screen just for post-processing, to let people customize and create their own profiles. So if you do prefer like a bluish hue, you can change that, increase, decrease contrast, brightness settings and things like that. Yeah, so these are the new. So I think this comes from a $300 asset. So these stairs will break off into chunks, and then each of these tanks will get lifted separately. There's loads more though. That's like one asset from the asset pack, split into like 12 different categories, and then each of those categories has several dozen like 3D models in it each. So I do want to create like an industrial estate sort of area, like industrial tiles where you've just got like tanks, cranes, like building materials just scattered about. Okay, it's starting to form something now. It's heading straight east. Almost took out another power line there. In real life, I did actually see somebody take out a power line once. While I was living in a town outside of Las Vegas. I'm not sure if they were drunk or not, or just not very good at driving. But I was sleeping, and then the transformer behind our apartment just sprayed out a ton of really bright sparks, and then all the electricity went off. Stepped outside to have a look, and somebody just essentially driven into a power line and knocked it down. And I'm guessing what's happened is somehow that's shorted something, and it blew the transformer outside of our apartment because it was only, I don't know, 200 yards away. Don't fully know how the electricity distribution works out in kind of like rural Nevada. But yeah, I'm pretty sure the transformer behind throughout the sparks, because I saw it out the window and it's like, what on earth was that? And then I went outside and saw the down power line with the car crashed into it. It's like, that makes sense. How did I manage to buy that asset? Because it was 99% off, so instead of €300, it was 3. Oh, we're getting into nighttime chase mode now. Different distribution weights around the map. I did see somebody suggest that. That may have even been you. I forget who suggested it. I saw it on the Discord a while back, and I do like that idea. So we'll create like essentially a Perlin noise map of different different biomes. So you've got like rural, where you're going to select more like dirt roads, empty fields, cornfields, and then more populated areas, and then that skews the distribution for the map generator. So it creates more organic rather than it's kind of fully random right now. It just chooses random tiles and then adds on what fits and then spreads out from there. It's like what Outbreak has in reference to what biomes, in the sense that Outbreak has different areas. Like you got like a mountainous area, forested area. Biomes in the sense that yes, it's still a biome. Actually, I think this is the wrong way. Let's go north. But no, in the sense that it won't be the same area every time. It'll be randomized. Still haven't had a hunt yet. I think it can go as far as half an hour without a hunt. You know, I've been streaming for 52 minutes, so I don't know why that hasn't been. But that's half an hour of Tornado being at least F1 strength time, not just half an hour of play time, or game time. Alright, let's see if we can catch up with this thing. It's just starting to form now. So yeah, it's a similar technique to what Minecraft has. That's what the original person who suggested it mentioned, and then as soon as they mentioned similar to Minecraft, I knew exactly what they were describing. But I will, let's see, once this goes off the map I will end the stream because I'll need some time to just make, there's one change I needed to make, wasn't there? What was it? I said there was one small tweak I had to make to the game. So I was going to quickly see if there's anything which could be causing controllers to interfere with the game. And there's one other thing which I noticed and said let's fix it. Oh yes, is when you're zooming in and out with the scroll wheel, when you hold shift it shouldn't also zoom the vehicle camera as well. Okay, so those are the two things. So once this goes off the map I will end the chase, just so I can get the update out. But I haven't seen anything majorly game breaking yet. I feel like I just heard stuff breaking. Yeah, stuff is getting broken by that funnel even though it isn't fully down to the ground yet. As what people want, I could do a Twister location hunting stream. So I've made a map of all the filming locations from Twister that me and a few other super dedicated fans of the movie have been able to find. There's still some I'm searching for though, so I could just do one streamer instead of the game. Or pull up stills from the movie and hunt around Google Satellite View, Google Street View and historic satellite imagery to see if we can find them. This one doesn't want to condense, does it? I reckon we'll drive into this one to get those last few data points. Because it's not strong enough that we'll have to really worry about the truck being lifted. So what I'm going to do is switch to camera mode to get a wide field of view. And then try and place myself exactly in the wind field. And then what we'll try and do is, if we face the same direction, northeast, we'll try and stay in the tornado until it goes off the map, and we'll just gather as much data as we can. Even though that is looking like F3 strength, but it's just going to be momentary. Is that moonrise or moonset? We're facing east, so it must be moonrise. I can't see. Where's the front? There it is. That does actually help with positioning a bit. The sun there's completely blown out the red in the VHS camera. Tornadoes bend. Not yet. Like, I've got an idea in my head of how I could do that. I just need to actually implement it. But essentially what you do is you create one-dimensional noise. There we go. Look at that, 190. You create one-dimensional noise and then offset the funnel based on that noise. So like if the value is less than 0, you bend to the left, more than 0, bend to the right. Maybe I can generate 2 one-dimensional noise maps so I can bend on the x-axis, so like left to right and then kind of forwards and backwards. Just then implementing that, probably the easy bit. The difficult bit will be tuning it and randomizing it while still having it look good. Because you don't want it bending in sort of like unnatural ways which don't look tornado-like. Where's the funnel? There it is. Yeah, I found the thing I struggled most with the game is more of the visual side of things than the coding side. So it's easy enough to code and add a feature, but trying to get something look good takes so much fine adjustment and experimentation. That takes longer than actually coding up the feature in the first place. Yeah, I think that's going off the map now. So I think we would have got some data. So let's just cash in. Yeah, this will be worth quite a lot. We may earn some more skips as well, which will be nice. 2 extra skips, which is good. $20,000. I was hoping for a bit more than that, to be honest. But let's have a look. Upgrades. I don't want to add weights to the truck. Yeah, that's about the only thing to upgrade. So I guess the grind will continue on the next stream. So yeah, I'm going to go do those 2 quick fixes really quickly and then push the update live in the next hopefully 20-30 minutes. So thank you so much everybody who's taken the time to watch the stream, comment, suggest ideas, give feedback. I really do appreciate it. It's my favourite thing, interacting with people in the community and especially on the live stream. So I will do another stream in the next few days once I've got more features to show off. So until that time, everybody enjoy your day and keep watching your Steam clients as the update will be dropping hopefully in the next 30 minutes or so. So everyone have a good one. I'll see you again soon.